It's such a great Friday already. Not only because it's Friday, unless you're listening or watching later on the weekend on your own personal time. It's Friday, which is always great. And also it seems that common sense is breaking out everywhere you look. In society, in restaurants, it's happening. Not on Capitol Hill. That place is still just a disgusting swamp. But still, we'll cover that as well. But common sense is breaking out all over the place, including with the Olympics. No more men in women's sports, despite what the media, how they tried to spin this yesterday. And I think you know why this decision was made. We'll get to that as well. All right. First of all, thanks for finding me. I appreciate you. Wherever, either listening live, some of my OGs, or on the replay on X and YouTube and Facebook, or the audio podcast listeners, which is most of you, usually around 9 a.m., release this off to Podcast World, wherever you like to get them. So thanks for finding me. I appreciate you. Let's get right to it. First of all, some breaking news overnight. They passed this thing in the wee hours of the morning in Washington, D.C. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I'm just sick of it. I'm going to get to the stuff that I want to talk about. But just to update you, somebody at work today is asking you, oh, did your Republican friends finally fund TSA? You know, the uninformed morons that you have to deal with. Yes and no. So here's what happened overnight. Let's go to the Fox News story. It's still annoying, but here you go.
Senate passing a bill overnight to fund TSA and most of the Department of Homeland Security.
But the legislation excludes funding for ICE and most of CBP.
Okay, so Thune let this thing escape the Senate without funding ICE, a full DHS funding bill. So it goes to the House, whatever. Kind of knew this was happening here, but there's a good synopsis. Did a little quick reference Grok search to try to figure out where it goes from here. It's pretty much everything you expected, everything I expected too, but here's a wrap-up of it. So what happens to ICE now? Okay, that wasn't funded, but it goes to the House, blah, blah, blah. Here's the good news. The core operations, enforcement, removal operations, the border, that's all still funded because they kind of like front-loaded the funding for ICE, so that's going to be okay. The bill does not provide routine annual appropriations for ICE's ERO, blah, 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 has no practical long-term effects. President Trump says he's going to support it, blah, 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 blah. Let's get to, so House action is still required. They're going to pass this thing, what came out of the Senate, and they'll be able to fund TSA. That's good news here. So here's the big question, though. What led to this? What would have led the Senate, Democrats and Republicans, to pass this thing and finally fund some TSA? What would have happened? What else happened yesterday that had... Oh, yeah. President Trump threatened an executive order to fund TSA individually and wanted to force the Democrats to sue him to stop it. That had an effect because you have to threaten these dopes to get any action done. That's what happened. So they freaked out. Republicans do. And they said, okay, we better fund this thing. Let's get it. Let's pass it out of this. We'll do it in the dead of night when nobody's watching. Send it to the House and we'll blame them. So that's where we are. But the good news is for normal people like you and me, TSA is going to be better. We'll get some funding for that, but it took a threat to get there. That's what it is. And yet you still have people in your life, I guarantee you still do, because they only watch The View and CNN and MS Now or whatever that thing's called now, thinking the Republicans did this. It was the Democrats all along. Trust me on this one. You can even say that as an independent because it's just factual. But let's get out of that right now because President Trump made that threat, but he also had a press conference. But he also decided to get out there in front of the American people and start doing phone-ins. Wouldn't it be nice to work on the Five, you know, that show on Fox? And he mostly likes them. He likes Gutfeld a lot. And he just randomly called in. Like, not pre-scheduled. He just called in. Talked for like 45 minutes. Imagine doing a show when the president says, Trump randomly picks up his phone and goes, I think I'm going to call Gutfeld over there in The View. What's he going to put me through? And he did. And they just let him talk, which is fantastic. Now, this is a part. Now, he said a lot of impactful things. He talked about ICE operations. He talked about TSA. He talked mostly about the SAVE Act, of course. But he also had some one-liners in this, and they set him up perfectly. Audio listeners, you're not going to see Greg Gutfeld's reaction on this, but he could barely hold in his laughter because they asked him this question about the Iran war, you know, the epic fury, how it's going. Are we really going to put troops on the ground? When is this thing going to wrap up? Are you going to get it done? And what about the new leadership? This is how they got to it. What about this new leadership in Iran? Is there a new guy? Do we know if he's even alive? Is it the Ayatollah Jr.? And what do you know about him? Specifically, they asked him if the new Ayatollah Jr. is gay. Here's Trump's response.
You kind of suggested that we'd knocked out Ayatollah Jr. Have we? And did the CIA tell you that Ayatollah Jr.'s gay?
Well, they did say that, but I don't know if it was only them. I think a lot of people are saying that which puts them off to a bad start in that particular country. You know, I sort of have to smile to myself when I see people trying to defend the Palestinian regime for women for Palestine, but they kill women if you don't wear a certain if you don't wear a certain cloth all over your face, you have no chance of living. And
he said, I had to, wipe the smile off my face. You couldn't. Gutfeld was sitting there on the corner of the table just smiling from ear to ear when Jesse Waters laughed at, because he knew exactly what the response was going to be from the room. They set him up with an alley-oop question. Has the CIA told you that the new Ayatollah is gay? And Trump's perfect response, well, he's not off to a great start in that particular part of the world. And I'm already hearing it, from the mealy-mouthed wing of the Republican Party. Well, this is, the nerds, the think tank nerds. This is the Trump that I don't like. You can't offend the new Ayatollah. You must play nice. This is the part of Trump that offends everybody. Oh, shut up. You know what? Shut up. You're talking about a terrorist regime that kills their own people. Go ahead and mock them to hell all you freaking want, because that's where they belong. I'm so sick of playing nice with these people. I'm so sick of the mealy-mouthed so-called conservatives saying, see, Trump needs to play nicer and not offend the Iranians. Screw you. Bomb that regime to hell and beyond. Spend 5 minutes of your own time to look into what they do to their own people. Massacring their own people who are fighting for freedom. It's disgusting what they've done. Besides the fact that regime has been the world's #1 state sponsor of terror around the world for now 47 years, is it? Destroy them and call them gay all you want. Don't play nice with terrorists. We tried that for decades. Where has that gotten us? Conflict after conflict after conflict, trying to appease them and giving them boatloads of money. No more. Screw that. I love that he speaks like that. And you're going to miss this. I'm telling you, even if you're one of those people offended by Trump calling the new Ayatollah gay, you're going to miss this, because we're never going to have this again. We'll never have it. Whether it's J.D. Vance or somebody else coming in next, or God forbid a Democrat, they'll never say it like this anymore. They'll never say what you're thinking. This is the last president you'll have. They'll try. They'll try to talk tough, and it's going to get backfire, because only he can get away with that. You're going to miss this, and it's very, very much needed, because it's a direct response to the wimpy, so-called America First conservatives saying, see, I wish we could just not use that kind of language. Screw you. We don't play nice anymore. The hell with that, especially when you're dealing with terrorists. So I loved it, but nobody loved it more than Gutfeld. I'm telling you, if you can look up on your own time, the still shot of Greg Gutfeld laughing to himself, trying to keep it together when Trump was talking, it's just gold. Speaking of gold, hey, there's a segue. No more men in women's Olympic sports. But what was the headline? I saved the thing. I saved a list of everybody that wrote it the exact same way. What do I tell you about the exact same wording? Always propaganda, always an agenda. AP, CBS, local newspapers. I happen to see the Boston Globe online. TMZ, did I mention them already? They all had the exact same headline to this breaking news yesterday. Trans women athletes barred from IOC competition. Now, if you went to, it's not always recommended, but if you went to the comment section of those online outlets, you saw the same thing I did. And I recommend that you do this. Whenever you see propaganda like this, should be the only time you go into a comment section and correct them. Because you'll also find, not hundreds, if you scroll and spend enough time in there, you'll find thousands of other people that think like you that blasted them for this. Things like, oh, you mean men? You're talking about men. Or people writing, let me fix that headline for you. Men in women's sports. Or delusional people that think they're women, but they're actually men, and they corrected it. That's what you have to do. I implore you to correct them as much as you possibly can, every chance you get. But they did it, and once again, I'll ask the question, what led... Let me see here. Well, we went for it. Let's go to the last Summer Olympics. Remember the men, the male athletes who are pretending to be women, dominating women's sports, female sports, and robbing their opportunity? We all remember the story about the male boxer who was proven to have male chromosomes, like we all freaking said at the beginning, beating the tar out of that poor little Italian boxer. Remember that? Remember that version? And do you remember Trump's response after that? And he said at the time, when I'm elected again, And the next Summer Olympics are coming to Los Angeles. We will not allow this. And he said it time and time and time and time again. Well, now, lo and behold, look at this. The momentum grows. We host the Olympics, and you have a decision like this and a video from the IOC, I think she's president, high-ranking representative regardless, making the announcement yesterday. You can tell she hates making this announcement. It plays like a hostage video, but has to lay it out. These are the new rules. This is why I say common sense is breaking out everywhere. Common sense doesn't happen on its own. You have to force it to happen, and you have to push back against the lunatics who want you to accept their lunacy. No more. No more. So here's the result. This is great news. Celebrate it.
Today, we, the International Olympic Committee, have published a policy on the protection of the female category. I understand that this is a very sensitive topic. As a former athlete, I passionately believe in the rights of all Olympians to take part in fair competition. The policy that we have announced is based on science, and it has been led by medical experts with the best interests of athletes at its heart. The scientific evidence is very clear. Male chromosomes give performance advantages in sports that rely on strength, power, or endurance.
That's what I love most about that. I swear I absolutely do. And again, I'll say it again. She didn't want to make that statement. You just know. It's like a hostage video. She's like, I know this is a sensitive, controversial topic. No, it's not. It's common freaking sense. Everybody can tell you, unless they have an agenda, everybody can tell you that men have a biological advantage physically over women. Everybody can tell you that, unless you have an agenda. So they played that. But in her statement, it was brilliant because she said the science is clear in that. Fantastic. This is a great development. It has worldwide support. And I'll say it once again. If you happen to venture into the comment section of a lot of these online outlets who tried to tell you that the headline was trans female athletes not allowed to compete in the IOC coming up in the... No. There's a men pretending to be women, which is fine. Identify all you want. In fact, this is one of those misconceptions about the conservative mind. Well, you hate the trans. Not at all. We're very accepting because the whole premise is live and let live. You live your life. Here's where we draw the line. Don't force your insanity or mental illness to become my reality. No more. This is a massive big step. Don't underplay this. This is a huge step. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen until you know who says, we got the Summer Olympics in LA coming up. We're not going to allow that crap anymore. That's what got this done. Don't fool yourself. There's another great development of common sense breaking out through America. I'm a big fan of this. And I'm going to give you a little setup here about dress codes. And I waited for this one for Friday. This is actually like, I think CBS or ABC had this story. It might have been Tuesday, Monday. It's a little bit old, but I wanted to wait to see the reaction on this one. Dress codes in restaurants. Nice ones. It's a thing, and it's popping up all over the place. Why am I in favor of this? You may be thinking, oh, it's the big deal. I'm paying. I should be able to dress however I want. All right, fair point. Until you start to realize that it affects behavior. How can you say that, Bill? Do you remember? Let's see. I think it was about 2 months ago now. I can't remember. Sean Duffy, the TSA, Transportation Secretary, had said that they're going to start to enforce and highly encourage airlines to enforce some sort of a dress code or gussy up a little bit because of what they're seeing. We've all been on the plane where somebody shuffles in Crocs or sandals and pajamas and wife beater T-shirts, and they take their shoes off and put them up on the plane. You know my stance. You take shoes, you go barefoot on an airplane with other passengers, right to jail. Right to jail. No bail. I hate you. I'm sorry. That's one of the most disgusting things you can possibly ever do. Put your freaking shoes on an airplane. But regardless, have you noticed what has been out of the headlines for the past couple of months? Coincidentally, around the same time that they started talking about that, where the airlines started to say, "No, you're gonna have to put a shirt on," or some freaking slob is taking off their Crocs and putting it up on the seat, behind you. Sir, ma'am, stop doing that. They started to do. You know what else has stopped since then? Or at least cut down. Not in the headlines as much. You know what you don't hear as much anymore? Fights on airlines. Except for Spirit, because they're just, listen, that's a different animal. We're all together. Less incidents. Less lunatic crap. Less fights. A lot of them were started by this kind of sloppy behavior. That's why I'm in favor of it. So what if restaurants started to demand that customers gussy up a little bit in a high-priced restaurant like Ruth's Chris? You ever been to a Ruth's Chris? Fantastic steakhouse. Here's the announcement. Again, this is a couple of days old, but now the reactions are coming.
The great national divide over dress codes. It's back with a debate over the dress code at steakhouse chain Ruth's Chris and what it calls proper attire, asking guests to remove all hats and not come in with gym wear, pool attire, tank tops, or exposed undergarments. Another chain, Chili's, posted about that, saying the only dress code at Chili's is you have to be dressed.
Fine. Two different atmospheres, two different price levels, two different customer bases. That's fine. I like them both. I love Ruth's Chris. I like Chili's just fine. I haven't been to a Chili's in a while, but I love their Presidente margaritas. They're great. So it's different approaches and what kind of customer they're going after. The economy is better, despite what the podcasters tell you. Yes, it is a better economy. So a high-end place like Ruth's Chris can say, all right, you know what? We loosened things up during COVID a little bit. Now we're back. This is a high-end restaurant, very expensive, and you're going to have to dress better. Good. Absolutely good. Better dress, better standards, bring better behavior. I don't care what study you look at. I don't care if you just rely on your own personal life. It is a fact. It just happens. You dress up, you're going to respect the process more. I don't want to be... There's only one time, and you know I'm mostly... You see me as half the time wearing a baseball hat, T-shirt, shorts, whatever. I live in Florida. It's very casual. I get that. I would never, ever, ever wear a hat inside. It's just how I was brought up to a restaurant like that. Even like a Chili's at dinner time. I wouldn't do it. You fit a standard to the place you're going. There's one time where I did it, and I still feel bad about it. Kids were little, and we had a remote broadcast at Disney, and we were able to get reservations at the Grand Floridian. Walking around, you're sweaty all day, you're hot, literally like a hat, shorts, sneakers, T-shirt, and we had reservations for the very, very high end. It might be a 4-star restaurant at the Grand Floridian. And I'm like, I can't go in like this. I feel like a slob. My family goes, look at everybody in here. They've been in a park all day. There's people wearing flip-flops in there. Don't worry about it. I said, okay. That's the only time I've been to a 4 or 5-star restaurant dressed pretty sloppily. But that's a different. That's because people are there all day and have been walking around amusement parks all day. Ruth's Chris is a different statement. And let me say this: there's no national divide. They're trying to create a divide. That's how he set up the story. There's no divide. If you're in a nice restaurant, you dress nicely. That's the way it is. Chili's is a little bit different. It's a casual restaurant, and they have a different business plan. Fine. But don't walk into a Ruth's Chris in gym shorts. That's all. You know why? Because the other people who are paying 50, 60, is that where they're at now? $60 a steak, maybe? Good steak, though. They don't need to look at that when they're paying for a high-end restaurant, so you shouldn't have to force them to look at you dressed like a slob. Gussy up. Good. Glad to see it. See? Common sense is breaking out all over the place. All right. More importantly, have a great weekend, please. Thanks for finding me, especially on the audio podcast. Everybody found that, so I appreciate you so much. Wherever you like to get your audio podcasts. And listen at your leisure, whenever. You may be listening to this on Sunday or next week. I don't know. Who knows? We usually post that at about 9 a.m. Eastern time after the live stream. But the replay right here on the live stream on X and YouTube and on Facebook. Looking forward to next week, by the way, live streaming, because there's a new X algorithm coming out. It's supposed to help live streamers. Will it work? Probably not. We'll see. Thanks for finding me. I appreciate you, as always. Make it a wicked awesome Friday. Enjoy your time. And if you're going to Ruth's Chris this weekend, can you put some pants on? Thank you.